I have no idea what you just said, but I think it's good. I hope you only said some nice things. Apologies for this casual dress. I lost my luggage yesterday when I arrived in Algeciras. So if anyone has, that's a big difference. Thank you for that. But if anyone has an innovative idea for airlines to not lose baggage, I am more than welcome to bring you in contact with my airline too. So thank you all for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Vincent. I've been working in the maritime sector for almost 10 years now. Used to work in a media company where I launched my own magazine for the oil and gas industry. And in my last role as a shareholder, I was responsible for internationalization of the company, building an international network, building a sales agent network in the US. And after that, I started my own media company to challenge the existing traditional paper-based media sector. That adventure failed, as a lot of startups do. So that's where I ended up at PortXL, where I use my startup experience, work on my passion for the maritime sector, and work with a lot of innovative corporates. Here I'm responsible for the head of business development, where I'm working with new partnerships and developing new locations. So that's a little bit of background to see who's that little guy standing on your stage here. So PortXL, we're an accelerator. We're not a very large port, which means that we scout for startups. We help them build their business in a 3-month program, and we connect them to our corporate partners. So an accelerator is not something that we invented. It's coming from the US. It's about building the business of a startup. But what we do different is that we focus on business development. So we are about doing business. That means that for the startups that we coach, that we help develop, we want to make sure that they get their second or third client through us. Because in maritime it's different. For the consumer market, there are a lot of startups, there's a lot of startup hubs, there are a lot of events. Companies are more and more used to work with startups, but for maritime, it's quite new. So we try to help companies work with startups, and during our program, we get those two parties together, and until so far, a lot of magic happens within those 3 months in our program. So if I zoom out a little bit, then this is why we are here. The industry is changing. This is the list of, I stole this picture from the Fortune 500. This is the list of things why most CEOs are awake at night. So a lot of new rules and regulations, a lot of cybersecurity all of a sudden is on the agenda. All reasons why companies need to come into action. So that means for corporates, they need to pivot their business, or they need to develop new business models, as we heard before. And it's also for startups an opportunity to see, okay, I'm seeing these developments, and I think that with this new technology, I can make a difference. So this is why we're here. The industry is changing, and that's why people are coming in motion. So the corporates and the startups, or if I can refer to the previous presentation, it's about the gazelle and the elephant. So if I use that reference, then we are the dancing school maybe, because we learn them how to dance together. If you look at a startup, to give you a little bit of context, it's quite hard to do business if you are a startup and you want to work with Shell, for instance. It takes you 3 months to find the right guy. It takes you another 3 months if that guy gets approval from his manager. It takes another 3 months if you want to talk about a pilot project and not even talking about financing. So usually for a startup it takes 1.5 to 2 years if you want to do business with a company like that. But for a startup, 2 years is crucial. They're already bankrupt by that time. So these are one of the key things in innovation in the maritime sector, what we try to tackle. So on the corporate, there are also similar challenges. I think Telefonica is a great example, and I'm really impressed by what they're showing, and also how you are handling innovation. I think it's really ambitious how you structure the plan, but that's not for everyone. I think this is what we see today is exceptional. I was actually surprised to hear this. But what we see in the industry is that companies realize that they need to innovate, they need to develop new products, they need to come into motion, but they don't know how. They have no idea how to work with a startup. So if they find a startup, how are they going to set up a pilot project? How are they going to work with this? Because there are different companies, there are two different worlds, and that's where we come in to bring those parties together. So this is what the number you'll see. If you are a corporate and you will decide, okay, let's work with a startup to develop a new product or a new solution. Only 1 out of 200 startups, they will be successful. Which means that if you are looking for a specific technology, for instance, you're looking for a blockchain startup and you found a perfect one with this specific technology, then you have 99.5% of failure. I don't want to make this too negative. We're all about positivity, of course, but these are reality. This is reality. So we want to avoid it. We want to search for good startups, help them build a program, and connect them with corporates so they can learn together. So this is what we do. We scout 1,000 startups worldwide annually. We connect them to our network of more than 200 people from the industry. So we match them so they can facilitate pilot projects together. And then we accelerate them by helping the companies, help them with their financial model, with their business model, with their marketing, how to pitch, how to look at investors, etc., etc. But the most important thing within our program is the pilot project, because for our industry, it's the technology that needs to be relevant. There are a lot of huge companies, and I've seen it a lot, especially in oil and gas or in the offshore. I think the offshore is a quite an innovative sector, but if you want to develop a new product in that market, the companies will say, yeah, sure, let's do it, but try it first with someone else before I adopt it in my company. So to get validation of your technology is crucial in order to even able to scale it up. So this is what it looks like in a year in what we do. We scout 1,000 startups. In its first phase, we go to 1,000, from 1,000 to the last 200 and 100. After that, we invite 30 startups to Holland, where they get challenged again by our network of mentors. The program is a 3-month accelerator program where we help them build their business and connect them with our partners to start pilot projects. And we celebrate the progress with our end event, which is called Shakedown. It's an event with 700 people. It's becoming more and more innovation festival where the industry is coming to. We present the progress, which is the pilot project that are being signed, so the contracts that are signed between the startups and corporates, or investments being made. So this is what it looks like in a year. So in its first phase, or actually through the whole year, we are evolving the corporates throughout the whole process, because that's quite unique. There are a lot of accelerators out there which are doing quite a good job, but the involvement of the companies, the industry, is not so much the case. So we do the opposite. We ask a lot of involvement from our corporates. We ask CEOs to be there. We ask someone needs to be a mentor for a startup, like a personal mentor. We help them build a business. A lot of involvement, so they also put their time and efforts in it. So we're not just a fun accelerator. Innovation is a lot about it's being brought as it was something that you can do on a Friday afternoon, but the fact is it's like a daily activity. It has to be in your DNA, in your whole organization. So we help corporates also in the scouting phase. We help them to define what is your problem, which technology are you looking for, and where do you think there's budget within your organization to develop this product, and how do you think you're going to cooperate with a startup, and how do you think this pilot phase is going to go? All these questions, we're going to tackle them up front so that they can, within the program, they can speed it up and they can aim for a pilot project as soon as possible. Because the 1.5 to 2 years I was talking about for a startup to do business with a corporate, we want to do that in those 3 months. So also we invite the corporates to scout themselves. So next week we have our first validation calls. which is a session where we set up a conference room like this, where we have our partners sitting at the table, and they're going to Skype with the startups we are scouting at that moment. So we have the Port of Rotterdam, Shell, huge maritime companies like Vinkoert or Boskalis. Those are the huge dredging companies of the industry. They have one-on-one interaction with the startup, so they can challenge the startup on how is your product even working. The startup is immediately validation of is the industry even waiting for my product. So there's already a lot of value there. After that, we decide together which startups are relevant and which startups should we invite to Holland. So then another crucial selection process is beginning. We're setting up tables. Each table has a team. On the table, there are mentors from the industry. So there are people from Shell again, from Vinkoert, from Boskalis, from Mammoet, IHC. They sit at the table. Each table has a team about technology or investment or business development or finance. So the startup has to explain why he is the best startup and why he should be into the program. So at the end, each mentor fills in the form, which means that we have 20,000 answers at the end of the event. Which startup is the best startup and why? So the industry selects the technology. The industry selects which startups go into the program. So during the program, we have daily activities, workshops, a lot of sessions. We have ex-McKinsey guys. McKinsey is a huge consultancy firm. All people who help the startups build the business and make sure that they create a stable business. But more important is the pilot project. So another element within the program is called the roadshows. During the roadshows, we take the startups to our partners. We invite, so we go to Shell. We ask Shell to invite as many colleagues as you want. So we sit in something like this with people from IT, from operations, from security, from C-level, as many people as possible. Because if you want to make APAC, you don't only have the CEO, you need everyone. You need to innovate with the whole organization. So these are elements of what we do within the program. After the 3 months, we always luckily sign a lot of contracts, or at least the startup sign contracts with the partners, and that's what we sign, what we celebrate during Shakedown, where investments are being signed, and I have a video about this later to give you an impression of what we do. So I think my job is quite cool. I really love my job. I can travel. I can talk to you guys. I can work with innovative startups. I work with amazing, huge, interesting, world-dominating companies who want to even strengthen their position. But as I mentioned before, innovation is no fun. We don't want to be a fun accelerator where we help startups to build their business and to come in on Friday afternoon. Because for a startup and for a corporate, this is crucial. You have to imagine that one of our startups, for instance, they come from India and they leave their wife and kids to be with us for 3 months. During the program, one of our mentors tell them to pivot the business model because this is not going to work in the industry. And as an entrepreneur, you're working on your dream, so this can be quite crucial to hear this kind of feedback, to get this kind of feedback, and to deal with your insecurity and to work with those big corporates who are sometimes a little bit too slow and don't communicate very well. And for the corporates, it's quite the same, because if you want to develop technology in your company and you want to launch a pilot project and you don't get permission and you don't get the financing from your team, or it is something that you don't do on a Friday afternoon. It's something which you do on a daily basis. It's a key part of your whole job. So I want to emphasize it's not so much fun, and it's quite a serious business what we are talking about, and which is also something you have to keep in mind when you want to do this. It's not something to build to strengthen your corporate identity or as a marketing tool. Innovation is something new, and I'm very happy to see that a lot of companies and the industry is realizing this, that innovation is not some marketing trick anymore. To say, hey, we're innovative, no. It's people are realizing it, and people are willing to invest their time and money in it. So all our startups, they doing quite a good job. I have some exceptional examples for you. Also when it comes to the investments they made or the terms of the contract they scored, but also some case studies that I'd like to share with you to see what happens within the program, what happens when you put a startup and a corporate together in one room. For instance, Ren Marine, the second one, this is a startup who collected the whale shark. Ren Marine is a startup from South Africa. They joined a program 2 years ago, and they developed a floating drone. And this floating drone is a 20-meter small ship. Due to regulations, it's better to call it a drone instead of an autonomous ship. But this drone, it collects waste. So in inland waters, this drone can collect waste based on AI. So this startup has made a tremendous growth, and they received an investment of $500,000 euro. And yeah, they are now international growing, still struggling. Again, these are exceptional figures, but also for these startups, it's still working hard. It's not that when they get an investment, they are the king of the industry or that they are there. No, they still have to work. Magnetic is another nice example. Magnetic developed a smart magnet lock. Usually with a magnet you cannot measure the strength on different surfaces. You can measure the strength but not on different surfaces, but because you have corrosion or rust or whatever. With this solution you can. And these guys were already working together 3 years when they joined us. Now they are almost 5 years on the line, and they almost went bankrupt during the program. So the fighters, the owners were having a fight with each other, and it was not going well. So we get those guys back together, and luckily they received an investment right before it was too late. And I think the beauty of this story is that they found also their business proposition through the program, because they were not looking for a scaffolding solution when they joined the program. Now they save Vopak and Shell a tremendous amount of money on their scaffolding. Scaffolding costs for Shell and Vopak are millions and millions of dollars. It's almost $30 to $40 million a year. And with this solution, they can save those companies 20% on the scaffolding costs. This is no AI, there's no blockchain, it's no Hyperloop kind of solution, but you do make impact with this. So we're about startups who can make impact, and not that you find the best, most exciting technology out there. The learning curve on the other side is also for the corporates, because Shell and Vopak, they're not joining us to say, okay, this year we are going to find a solution to reduce our scaffolding costs, because they're not looking for those kind of solutions, but they do make impact. And from these points of views, you can create more solutions, and I think that's what's also already mentioned before, that you have to be open for new ideas, and if you only use your own team, you can only come up with the ideas you already had. But if you bring a new flavor of ideas and new entrepreneurs or new industries even, you can come up with new solutions. The last one on the right is Oceanos, or Sagar Defense. They have two names. It's a startup from India. They were in our last year's program, and they have an autonomous ship solution. So they can make, from small vessels, they can make it autonomous ship. Their solution is called a boat in a box. And they did a successful pilot with Vinkoert. Vinkoert is one of the biggest dredging companies, also active in offshore wind, oil and gas, major company. And Vinkoert was already talking about autonomous shipping since the 90s. And during those years, there were a lot of discussions. Should we do it? Should we not do it? What are the risks? So through us, they find a startup who delivers a solution like this. They do a pilot project, they see it works, and now they can scale it up. So that was the value for Vinkoert. For Oceanos, they were able to grow the company, to develop their product. Now they backed a €2 million contract with the Indian Defense. I think this is exceptional, really exceptional, because this is not only a major deal, but it's also quite new technology, and yeah, I hope more and more of these solutions will follow. As mentioned, we are about doing business. Each year we scout 1,000 startups, so we have we have a huge database of startups. Each year we select 10 to 50 startups, and so far we have achieved that there are 84 contracts signed between a startup and a corporate. And this is actual money involved. This is no exchange of business cards, no free pilot project. These are projects where companies are ready to pay for, and startups got their second or third client with us. So I think this is crucial, because there are a lot of startups and there are a lot of companies who want to work with a startup, but which company is willing to invest their money in new technology? This is also for a startup a good thing to be on the lookout for, to remember, and because startups are willing to do everything for free because they want to develop, but you have to be hard on this, and this is also what we do. So we challenge them to ask money for their products and their services. Yeah, and the 9.1 on the right is the evaluation from the startups for our program. I think this is crucial as well, because also from the startups we ask a lot. They leave their wife and kids for 3 months, they go into a difficult program, we ask a little bit equity from them. So or they have a debt with us, or they give us equity. But they still evaluate us with a 9.1 out of 10. So I think that's something that we have to keep on improving, and we have to keep on delivering these kind of numbers. I told you about our shakedown event, which is the event where we celebrate the progress at the end of the program. So where the investment's being signed, and I'd like to give you a little bit of flavor of what's happening, and yeah, to see what it's all about.
We are at Vinkoert, one of our partners. Today is the final presentation of our program, Shakedown, where all 10 startups present their progress of the last 3 months. The progress we made this year is measured by the number of contracts that the startup signed, and we're very proud to announce that this year we're signing 17 contracts. So for innovation in the port, this is a real big step.
At Shakedown, we're about sharing innovation around the world. So I'm extremely happy that you're all here, because without you, there's not a lot of sharing.
The reason PortXL is so important is that we're in a period of fundamental innovation. New technologies are transforming how logistics works everywhere. And startups are the source of that innovation. So we need a place where all the startups can find a new home. And that's why PortXL is so important.
What we like about PortXL is the outside-in view. There's a lot of young but also experienced people with total new, brand new, innovative ideas.
It's amazing. It has been a wonderful experience and a great ride. 3 months have just gone up in a flash.
We signed more contracts because we now realize that it's very easy to change small things and make them applicable to ourselves.
We have got recognition. We have got a brand name that we are from PortXL, and now we need to prove outside. So now we are coming out of the safe haven and getting into the open world.
So these are the partners at the moment. We have a number of partners we're all looking for new technology. We have major companies who are joining us, and each company has its own reasons to join. For some, it's about stimulating innovation throughout the whole organization. Some are only looking for technology, some are looking to buy or work closely with startups. But the importance is that everyone here is looking for new technology, looking how to improve the business, strengthen their own proposition within the industry, and prepare themselves for the future to come. I think the only exception here is Rabobank, which is a bank, and EY is always involved with innovation, startups, and new things like this. But the rest is all about huge corporates looking for technology. I need to speed up, that's what you told me. So the last slide is about our international expansion, where we are at the moment. we have our head office in Rotterdam. That's where we have our main location. That's where I have the full-fledged 3-month program. We decided to internationalize our business. We had a choice 1 year ago where we could say, okay, let's make PortXL the best accelerator in Rotterdam and make it more broad, so more industries. Or we could make the decision to make this a global platform and to be the best there is worldwide. So we choose for the last thing. And that's where I come in also in order to build new locations and to build new partnerships worldwide. The most important reason why we are scaling up and why we are expanding our business over the borders is because if a startup has a project in Algeciras, for instance, and they had a emission reduction solution here and they see it worked, they also want to scale it up in other ports or with other vessel owners or with other companies. So to do that, to facilitate, we want to build an international network because we are in an international industry and we want to facilitate all those locations where startups want and need to work. But also for the corporate side, because we recently landed in Singapore, where some of the Rotterdam partners also will be joining and where we are about to sign the first corporate partnerships. If a corporate finds a solution what they see in their terminal in Rotterdam and they want to scale it up through all terminals worldwide, so in the US or in Singapore, and they want to facilitate this and they want to be connected to work with more startups and to be involved with new technology and to be connected to our global network. So we started this journey this year. Our aim is to have 3 main locations worldwide. So 1 main location in the US, where we have a 3 months full-fledged program. We already have Rotterdam and Singapore. From our main locations, we want to organize a number of satellite locations. So here, that's what we do in Antwerp. Here we want to focus solely on the pilot projects. So no business development support, no financial support, no looking for investors. We have 4 partners now in Antwerp, huge companies, including MSC, including DEME, which is also used, huge offshore company, and the Port of Antwerp. And we ask them, what are your challenges? What do you want to improve within your company or within your port? What is the technology that you need to drag into your company? So based on that, we scout for startups. With those startups, we go to the corporates and we select the most relevant ones. I heard this morning that we are about to we're about to start 18 pilot projects. And this is only the first batch. So these are 18 specific projects which those companies are going to develop with those startups. So those said that that's what we're going to do in the satellite locations, focus on the pilot projects. And that's what we want to do in Antwerp, and I hope to open 2 locations more in Europe or next year. This year will be quite short. So that's our aim for the coming years and what we want to achieve, and hopefully we can do it together. And I think that's about it, what I have to say about PortXL.
Well, thank you very much, Vincent.
I see we have 3 minutes remaining for questions. Or do you want to move on?
Any questions?
Hi Vincent, congratulations on your initiative, looks great. I would like to know how do you, if you do collaborate and partner with other accelerators, and how do you collaborate with other industries, so on top of the logistics and port industry?
Yeah, port industry, the port industry is very broad, because we talk about transport and logistics, you talk about maritime and offshore, chemicals and refineries, so they're all within our scope. There are already many. Is that what you're asking? Yeah. Yeah. So these are already many industries within this sector.
And do you look into their acceleration programs and into their portfolios to find solutions that might be valid for your program, or you just do like an open call and expect the startups to apply to that?
So it's both. We have our own scouting team who is looking for technology which is relevant, but we also have our partners where we listen to, and we, as I mentioned in the scouting phase, we already involve them there as well. So they have influence on who we're looking for, but we're not only looking for their technology wishes. So it's both actually.
Okay, great, thank you.
Another one?
Congratulations for the initiative. Talking about the ports and the corporations that invest in the program, what's their feedback after the results of the startups? Are they happy? Are they not happy enough? What's their expectative? What do they think?
Sorry, the feedback from the partners?
Yes, I mean from the partners that help you invest money and that gives you some business recommendation, advices, not only financial, but talking about the industry, the business. What's their feedback of the program? Because we know that for the future it will be good, very good for all the port community, but what's their actual feedback? Are they happy with the outcomes of the startup results or not yet?
Yeah, okay, I understand your question. What we see is a huge learning curve for all of our corporates, for all of our corporate partners. And Vinkoert, for instance, the first year when they joined us, they had no clue what they were doing. Because they said, hey, we need to do this. So we joined the accelerator, we organized an event with their CEO, we did a lot of things. And they saw that other partners had pilot projects and they didn't have a pilot project. So the second year, they said, okay, our aim is to have 5 pilot projects. Now they're in the phase that they have their specific project designed for accelerators or for innovation, which is called Fox Future. Fox is the name of some of their vessels, so they named this Fox Future, where they integrate the whole organization, they aim for pilot projects, they monitor the impact they make and which technology they are looking for. So I think to answer your question is, they're happy because they're still with us, but they can learn through the program how to adapt new technology in their own company. And for each company, it has different. Each company has different reasons. So other companies are focused on that internal program. We have few things why corporates are joining, but so far everyone's quite happy. Now, I don't want to make it better than it is. There are some companies who dropped out. I think there were 2 in the last couple of years who dropped out because it was not for them. Because we ask a lot of commitment. We don't want to be a program where you can just pay your annual fee and you're innovating. No, we ask commitment. And if you're not organized by that, or you cannot make it, or you cannot, you don't want to do it, then it's not for you. So the partners we now have are happy. And for us, we're also learning. We're also a startup. We are almost, we're now in our 4th year. So we also learn how to do this better and better each day. Yeah, I think the partners now are happy, and I think, yeah. Maybe that's the bottom line. The partners are happy. So.
Well,